Well, there is a bit of a chill in the air this Labor Day. It could be a sign we're getting close to a change in the restaurant dining experience. Patio season is approaching its end. And due to the pandemic, this year more than ever, restaurants have been relying on their expanded patios before we head into the colder months. Well, our next guest owns a restaurant with his wife in Vancouver's Gastown neighborhood. Matthew Junkier runs the Birds and the Beets, and he joins us now from his restaurant. Good to see you, Matthew. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me, first of all, how your restaurant reopening has been going for the Birds and the Beets, especially during this expanded patio season.
You know, Gastown in our neighborhood's a neighborhood that's really reliant on tourism and offices. So it was a bit slow going at first, but we've been so lucky that the local community has really kind of come out, and we've had a real great stretch of weather here in BC, and we've been able to add a beautiful outdoor patio. So I think the appeal has been really great, and every week's getting busier and busier. So far it's been in the right trend, I guess you could say.
And has it been enabled you to bring back employees who you otherwise would not have been able to bring back with your normal smaller patio?
It absolutely has. We started with 45 pre-pandemic. At the height of the pandemic, we were down to just about 6 staff, and we're back up to about 35 staff now. So that was one of the biggest worries, I think, for many restaurant operators, is being able to give hours to their staff, and we're really fortunate to have been able to give the majority of them back to their original working hours.
So we do know we're in September now, though, and I wonder how concerned you are about the months ahead that may not be patio friendly.
We're along with other people very concerned. The restaurant business at the end of the day is about getting bums in seats, and the safety guidelines, that are very reasonable, but they reduce our capacity in our case about almost 55 to 60%. Which makes just the economics of operating our business really tricky and challenging. The city here in Vancouver is extremely proactive in allowing us to have these expanded patios that bring us back to what our original capacity was. So with that winding down, and the very generous government programs winding down as well, I think it's sort of a perfect storm that restaurateurs are facing. The real clouds and challenges in the months ahead, I guess you could say.
And what have you found in terms of indoor dining? If your patio's full, are most people willing to come inside? As you say, you're down to half capacity indoors. Is that working, and is that sustainable if you have to close your patio?
It's not sustainable. It isn't sustainable to operate a restaurant at 50% capacity. And I think, in Canada, we get a few great months of summer and people naturally want to be outside. But I think the COVID crisis has heightened that. I think people feel a lot safer outside. And there's research to back that up. So I think restaurants will, for the most part, fill their inside seats. But the problem is that there's just not enough seats to make the whole thing work. So especially restaurants on the smaller scale, small neighborhood restaurants, bistros, that sort of thing, real challenges ahead.
So, Matthew, I can just imagine how stressful this is for you and the questions you must see on the faces of your staff wondering what's coming in the months ahead. What can you do to try to combat that? Can you apply for special heaters or something on the patio to extend that season, for example?
At the moment here in Vancouver, you are not allowed any electrical outlets. And what we're hoping for is the ability to cover the patio to create some sort of temporary structure that would allow us to expand our footprint and make it usable. So sort of say if there's, rain or overcast weather on the horizon. Right now, the problem is you just can't really see people out there. If, you're worried about it raining and not having any seats inside to accommodate them later.
Okay.
Heaters are definitely something that we would love to add. Just at the moment, the regulations don't allow for it. But I think from what I've heard, there is a movement in City Hall here in Vancouver to enable that. And on the temporary patios, I should say, that is.
Well, we certainly know, I think everyone would agree, that restaurants add a lot of vibrancy and life to any community. And I wonder, are you concerned of some of the magic being lost in the fact that even when you are at a table now, indoors in a restaurant, there's no hopping from one table to another to maybe chat to a familiar face. And even the servers wouldn't have that same level of comfort chatting with customers. Is there something missing that you are hoping to see come back someday?
It seems so distant, that world. I think a lot of diners felt really strange at the start of it. But I think it's now the new, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's the new normal. People have become accustomed to it. And I think servers have done such a good job of maintaining that hospitality. And it's really hard to do when you can't smile at a guest. You know, there's a real sort of human interaction that's so intrinsic in the dining experience that, you know, is now sort of blocked. But yeah, I think we're all excited for the world to come back to normal, but I think restaurants have adapted and used decor and stuff like that to really do the best they can in the circumstances to create the vibe and the environment that's such an important part of dining.
Yeah, and you touch on that one element there, that crave for human connection that is not going away. And people are very adaptive. Listen, we wish you all the best as you do look ahead to the colder months, and fingers crossed for you to be able to adapt your patio to hang in there, Matthew. Thank you so much for joining us, giving us some time. Matthew Senecal-Junkier owns the Birds and the Beets along with his wife, joining us from his restaurant in Vancouver.